Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tay, and today we are talking about I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. More specifically, what insights this song might give us into the life of a showgirl, because let's face it, this song is the first glimpse of the showgirl, whether intentional or not. I kind of think this song might have been written a little intentionally to prepare us for this new era, and I get into that later. But before I get ahead of myself, let's just talk about the song in general. I'm gonna call it Broken Heart because I can't be saying the full name every time. So Broken Heart is the only song on Poets that directly references the Eras tour, which is so crazy. Like, you wrote 31 songs on the biggest tour in the world, and only one of them was about the actual tour. Like, it's really kind of crazy. And it's also kind of an enigma on Tortured Poets. I just wanted to say the word enigma, I'm sorry. But it does stand out. It's not, the lyrics aren't super poetic like the other songs, and obviously the production's way more upbeat. And like, it fits into Tortured Poets, but also like doesn't really. And even in her discography, I feel like it stands out. It's just a weird song. I think it's the fact that she breaks the fourth wall. Like, when she says, I can read your mind and I can show you lies, like, she's talking about us. She doesn't really directly talk to us. Like, when she says you in most songs, sometimes it's, her partner or her mom or whoever else it might be, but it's very rare that it's us. I think this and Dear Reader are like the only time she does it. So it does like feel a little weird, I think, having her talk directly to you. Even though it's not the closing track on Tortured Poets, to me it feels like the closing statement, and it also feels like the introduction to Life of a Showgirl. Like, it feels like an interlude between these two albums. She's speaking in the present tense, like, I can do it with a broken heart, but it feels very reflective. More like she's saying, I did it with a broken heart, and she did. And that makes me wonder if this song was written intentionally. Like, I think she could have realized there wasn't a strong pop hit on the record, and she didn't really talk about the Eras tour, and so she set out to make a song with those traits. I tried to see if there was information about exactly when it was written, but I don't think we know for sure. So it could have been written early on in the Eras tour after the breakup with Joe, but I'm inclined to believe she wrote it more towards the end of Poets, and it's about both Joe and Maddie. More so Maddie. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's not about the men. We don't care about the men right now. Because I Can Do It With a Broken Heart is her being proud of herself for what she achieved and overcame during the Eras tour, which is the essence of Showgirl. My truth, based on no evidence, is that I think she wrote Broken Heart knowing what the next album was going to be, at least in concept. Like, I don't think it was called Showgirl at that point, but I think she knew this next album is going to be me talking about what my life was like during the Eras tour. And so I think perhaps she went out of her way to tell us how difficult the Eras tour actually was for her on this song, so that whatever she reveals to us on Showgirl isn't a total shock. Because we were all asking ourselves, how are you doing these shows each week? How are you never sick? And like, don't your feet hurt every night? And we didn't really get answers to this until New Heights. So for a while, I think a lot of us just started to think, like, it is just that easy for her and she loves to do it. And in the back of your mind, you know that can't be true. Like, this is a very intense, like, physical challenge, the show, and it cannot possibly be easy for her. But when you're watching her every week and she just looked so happy to be up on stage, there were very few times where her showgirl persona cracked and we could see something actually go wrong. Like, she intentionally shows emotion a lot, like through the surprise songs. That's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the video of her struggling to catch her breath in Brazil. That was like a true moment of like, oh, like, she is a performer, and like, oh, she's having a harder time than a lot of us are realizing. So I think I Can Do It With a Broken Heart was a moment where she was like, I need people to start thinking about how hard this was for me and how impressive what I've accomplished really is. Because I imagine Showgirl is going to have moments that to a non-fan could come across as her bragging when she's being proud of herself, and like her seeming ungrateful or complaining when she's talking about her hardships. Like, most people aren't going to watch the full 2 hours of New Heights to get the context for Showgirl, but everyone and their mother has heard I Could Do It With a Broken Heart. Obviously, I don't know for sure if Broken Heart was written, like, to prepare us for this new era, but I'm just crafting a narrative that I think could be true. It feels like she left a pin in Tortured Poets to get us thinking, and then was like, we will circle back to her later, and now here we are. So now let's go through the lyrics. She opens the song with, I can read your mind. She's having the time of her life. And that is literally how I felt when I was at the Eras tour. I remember a specific moment. It was during the one when she's on the folklore cabin and my seat was close to that side of the stage. And there was a moment where it felt like she was staring right at me and she had the biggest smile. And of course, I was looking up at her in awe. And I just remember thinking, wow, like, she really loves everything about this and like getting to do these shows every week. And I don't know for sure if she was looking at me, but it literally felt like she was reading my mind as I was thinking she's having the time of her life. Like, it's a little freaky. Like, she really clocked my tea in many cases. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Like, I'm not sitting here saying these lyrics were written about me. Please, I'm not delusional. But just seeing her own the fact that she kind of manipulates, that sounds bad, but she is kind of manipulating how we see her and like showing us exactly what she wants us to see, and to see her admit to that, not like only admit to it on Broken Heart, but like she's so proud of the fact that she was able to trick us all. Yeah, I try not to get too parasocial because I know she's ultimately a product and I'm never gonna know the actual Taylor Swift. But when you listen to her music, you get caught up because you're like, ugh, she's just like me. It's just like my life, in a way. But this song is like her telling you, like, I'm not just like you, and the parts that you think are might be an illusion. Yeah, that was a lot for 2 lines. Okay, next she says, they're in her glittering prime. The lights refract sequined stars off her silhouette every night. I can show you lies. And then the 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the 1, 2, 3, 4 feels like another way to show that, like, this is not real. She looks glittery and effortless to us, but from her perspective, she's working. While we're enjoying this beautiful music, she's hearing stage cues through her in-ears. If we want to overanalyze this, we could also look at glittering prime, because the idea of her being in her prime indicates that she has reached her peak and will only go downhill. And it makes me wonder if we will see some of that anxiety come up in any songs on Showgirl. And I think there's also something to be said about, like, being in your prime is typically associated with youth for female celebrities. So again, I feel like we might see her talk about that on Showgirl. I'm not going to read out the whole chorus. You've probably heard it. Fake it till you make it is self-explanatory. Lights, camera, and smile, even when you want to die. He said he'd love me all his life. The way this chorus unfolds is brilliant because it feels like she's doing a mental checklist while she's on stage, and then these intrusive thoughts keep popping up. Like, she's remembering choreography and lyrics, and he said he'd love me all his life. Interact with the fans, keep serving face. You get the idea. I was grinning like I'm winning. I was hitting my marks because I can do it with a broken heart. What else is there to say? I'm so depressed. I act like it's my birthday every day. I'm so obsessed with him, but he avoids me like the plague. I already talked about how she looks so happy every time she's on stage, and how this song reveals that that is sometimes an illusion. And again, we get to see her intrusive thoughts. Like, are there moments on the Eras tour where she was in her head crashing out about Maddie Healy, and she just had to smile and pretend she's fine? I don't want to think too much about that. I'm glad it's over. I'm like, sorry that happened to you, girl. Glad it's over. I cry a lot, but I am so productive. It's an art. You know you're good when you can even do it with a broken heart. This is where we see her pride come through, and it's kind of smug at times, especially at the end when she says, try and come for my job. There's a hint of defensiveness, like she knows she's good, but she needs everyone else to know. So she's telling us through this song, and any haters who try to undermine what she accomplished can come for her at their own peril. And of course they will. I'm hoping we see her claws come out a little on Showgirl. Like, I hope we see her come for some people. Because I'm tired of doing it. I'm tired of defending her. All right, the second verse, she says, I can hold my breath. I've been doing it since he left. This is where it gets interesting. There is a repeated theme of death on Tortured Poets, and I think this is a moment of clarity where she's like, I didn't actually die. I was just holding my breath, and it was the worst, but I made it out, and now I'm stronger than ever before. I talked in my Showgirl predictions video about how I think the fate of Ophelia could be her rewriting Ophelia's fate, so I definitely sense a connection between these two songs, especially like Ophelia drowns in Hamlet and the whole I can hold my breath. It's like maybe she didn't die. It feels like the time she fell through the ice and came out alive. I keep finding his things in drawers, crucial evidence. I didn't imagine the whole thing. I'm sure I can pass this test. The way I read that was really weird, I'm sorry. She's going through a really tough time, but she sees it as a test that she must rise to meet. And this is like a continuous mindset that Taylor seems to have. Like when she faces a setback, she pushes back against it. Usually for the better. Like it's usually pretty hard on her, but ultimately it makes her stronger, or it makes her music stronger. Sometimes she loses a battle, but she always wins the war. This line makes me wonder if she thought the breakups that happened earlier on in the Eras Tour were a cosmic exchange of sorts. Like, if you want to be on top of the world and do your Eras Tour, it's gonna come at the expense of your love life. Please, I've been on my knees. Change the prophecy. Like, she does seem to believe in fate and, you know, universal balance to some extent. I hope we get some closure to the prophecy on Showgirl, but I'm not sure if we will, because they weren't engaged yet. Like, it wasn't official, even though they were very much in love. Anyways, the last line is, 'cause I'm miserable and nobody even knows, and we didn't know. People like to claim that we knew. Like, you did not know. We did not know. But I feel like this heartbreak aspect of I Can Do It With a Broken Heart is what makes it fit into Poets. It's me, hi. I didn't explain myself very well, so I'm just redoing this part. What I'm trying to touch on is I think Taylor intentionally did not talk about the Eras Tour on Tortured Poets because she wanted those experiences to be kept separate from one another. Both for artistic reasons, but also for her own sanity. Which is why I Can Do It With a Broken Heart is the only song on Poets that directly references the Eras Tour. So with that all in mind, I don't think Showgirl is going to talk about anything that happened on Tortured Poets. Like, Midnights and Tortured Poets gave us so much to dissect about her previous albums and relationships. I don't think we're going to be able to analyze Showgirl that same way. It really feels like kind of a fresh start in that regard. Right now, I want to touch on the music video and live performance of I Can Do It With a Broken Heart because they are the Showgirl Easter eggs. Like, even if Broken Heart wasn't written as her way of soft launching the Showgirl, like the music video and live performance very much are the Showgirl. In the music video, she's wearing the orange lover bodysuit a lot, and the fans they use during practice are also orange. Like, the bodysuit could be a coincidence. Someone had to order orange fans. Like, that was not random. You will never convince me. But more importantly, this is the only behind-the-scenes footage of the Eras Tour that we've gotten so far. And Showgirl is about her life behind the scenes. Like, it's crazy how obvious the Easter eggs are in hindsight. Some people think Showgirl is going to be a soundtrack for the Eras Tour documentary. I don't know about that, but I'll let y'all cook. Now, the live performance to me was a little unsettling, at least the first time I watched it, for reasons I talked about before. So obviously the Eras Tour is one big, well-rehearsed performance. I'm not sitting here like, it was all fake. But this performance made me start to question moments where it feels like we're seeing something genuine, but she's actually showing us exactly what she wants us to see. I wonder if that's what Opalite is about. Now that we're thinking about it. Starts to get a little meta because whatever she tells us on Showgirl is just one version of her life behind the scenes that she is willing to reveal to us. So with that all being said, I think I Can Do It With a Broken Heart is the first taste we've gotten of the Showgirl, whether it was planned that way or by accident. It sets Taylor up as almost a Hannah Montana figure. Like, you know me as Taylor Swift the performer, but when the glittery bodysuit and heels come off, I'm just Taylor. She has to deal with heartbreak and her family and her business and, dare I say, regular people things. To some extent, right? There's more to her than just the pop star, and perhaps the Taylor we don't get to see is more interesting than the one we've dreamed up in our heads. That's what I wrote. I'm curious to see how much she's going to reveal on this album, because Poets was so confessional, but the way she described this album on New Heights seems like it would also be confessional. She said everything that went on behind the scenes. But this album's kind of being made for mass market appeal. Like, the fans will buy anything she puts out at this point, but it seems to me like she's trying to prove that she's not just riding off her diehard fans and that her work can still achieve critical acclaim. So I think her writing's going to be very different on this album. Like, 1989 is her biggest pop album, and the lyrics, when compared to her other albums, are not super complex, and that's not a bad thing. It's meant to be widely accessible and requires a different skill set. But she also said the storytelling elements of Folklore are upheld on Showgirl, so I'm curious if she can achieve this balance where her writing reflects her skills while also being accessible to the general public and fits with the pop production. With everything she's told us on New Heights and the visuals we've seen so far, my current impression of Showgirl is that it's going to be a mix of, and this sounds crazy, but 1989, Reputation, Folklore, and Evermore, and also the Eras Tour, which, like, sounds impossible. It sounds like it cannot possibly be good. But she seems to think that she pulled it off. She said, I want to be as proud of this record as I am the Eras Tour. And now, you didn't have to say that, girl. Like, that is setting the bar so high. So I am nervous. Like, I don't want to doubt her, but I also don't want to be disappointed because I'm looking forward to this album. So let me know, do you think she's going to live up to everything she said on New Heights? What are you expecting from Showgirl? Like, tell me below if you feel so inclined. Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.